Hunting is not easy. It never has been. It takes dedication, motivation, a lot of patience, and quality gear. If you manage a food plot, put up stands, or need just one more game camera, we can help at MidwayUSA.com. We opened our doors in 1977 and continue to put customers first by offering super fast, same-day shipping. For just about everything for the outdoors, go to MidwayUSA.com. Midway USA has an extensive selection of bullets, providing top-notch performance and accuracy for the cartridge you plan on reloading. If you plan to hunt, shoot competitively, plink at the range, or even load up some self-defense rounds, Midway USA has the popular brands, calibers, diameters, and grain weights of bullets you are searching for. First-time reloaders, bulk bullet buyers, and seasoned specialty shooters begin their search for bullets at Midway USA. For just about everything for reloading, shop MidwayUSA.com.
All right, welcome back to the Survival and Basic Badass Podcast with Kevin and Chuck. Today we're going to talk about rabbits. Rabbits, you know, the other meat source, you know, They're easy, they take care of themselves. You don't really have to get much to feed them. They're pretty cool.
Yeah, I actually was a bit of a nerd as a young man. I was in 4-H.
4-H,
had my own
yeah.
rabbits growing up, raised rabbits. One of the things that they first taught you when you're raising rabbits is that there's over 350 ways to cook a rabbit.
350 ways? That sounds tasty.
Yeah, well, it seems like it could cook, you know, food, rabbits any way you want. It seems like it would be strange to limit it to 350, but I don't know.
Flour, frying pan, sounds tasty.
Yeah, I made some rabbit stew not too long ago.
Yeah?
Yeah. Was not bad.
Their skin kind of peels right off.
Oh, I just got it from the grocery store, though. I didn't
okay.
butcher the rabbit.
All right. Now, so you, 4-H, you had a rabbit?
I had 2 rabbits.
2 rabbits?
2 rabbits. Little hutches in the backyard. Had to go out and feed them all the time. It was terrible.
What were they? Do you know what breed they were?
No. No, I can't remember at this point.
I think your sister had, Holland Lop?
Yeah.
Was that what you had, or?
Yeah, no, it was the same
Something
breeds.
else. Yeah.
There are two different types of rabbit.
All right. So, what do you know about rabbits? Not much?
Not much. I know it doesn't take much to keep them alive, though.
Yeah? You were able to do it?
A little bit of hay, a little bit of food, and that's it, man. You can keep them in cages, and that's what they recommend to do for eating. But you don't necessarily have to, keep them penned up. You know, you can make a bigger pen for them and let them just, go at it and breed and dig
like
tunnels
rabbits?
And do their thing, yeah.
All right. So, I actually watched one of the homesteader courses that I had purchased in the past, a DVD on how to do stuff. So basically it outlined, the requirements, what you need, and, whatever. So I told the kids, that we'd probably have one that, they could keep and they could name and could be their buddy, and the rest of them were eating.
Mm-hmm.
And they seemed down with that. They're not that attached to... They like tasty food on the table. You
had named all your chickens, right?
They had 1 or 2 had names.
Yeah.
There's too many. Nobody knows which one's which. They all look the same. You'd have the occasional rooster that
What about little Jerry? Wasn't there
little
a little
Jerry Seinfeld?
Did he get eaten?
He got eaten by a coyote.
Oh, yeah?
Or fox. A fox,
okay.
Yep.
Not by the family, though. Huh?
Not by the family. He was tiny. He wasn't worth the effort. So the bottom line, I watched this DVD series, and I'm thinking about doing the rabbits this year. So basically, the setup they had was 8 cages, and what they did was they would have 3 does, a buck, cage, cage, 4, however many that
4
is.
4 cages, yeah.
4 cages, and then the other 4 would be for the litter.
Mm-hmm.
And basically with that, they were getting 90 rabbits a year.
Okay.
Breeding that way. And let me see. They basically, the cages were, each one was about 5 square foot.
Okay.
And they just stack them in a row. Just made out of chicken wire. Nothing, crazy. They actually, chicken wire on the side. They had a metal roof. This girl did insulation. She was talking about for the floor, you want 1/2 inch by 1 inch wire mesh.
Right, because you
the
want
idea,
the poop to just drop
the
through.
poop to drop through, easier on their feet, that kind of thing. So you knew about this.
Right.
All right. Now the cool thing, so they'll eat hay. They eat a lot of the weeds. All right. So they'll eat oats, rye, lettuce, peas, legumes. Basically, you give them about as much as they'll eat in an hour. If you want them to breed and do good things for you, you really got to be on top of fresh water. That's a big one for them.
Okay.
They can't have old or moldy food. Your normal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like. You'll mess them up if you give them a lot of the nightshade family.
Okay.
So like tomatoes and that stuff. No.
Offline.
That's a no go.
All right.
If you do like the store bought stuff, they eat about a cup of food a day.
Mm-hmm.
But really, any kind of weeds and anything, they don't care. They're down. They'll thrive with it, with the different stuff. So it's not really a big problem. There's a couple different breeds that are better for breeding rabbits for food. There's New Zealand whites, Californias are good. But, I don't know. I'm not the authority. I just kind of read, did my research,
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're inexpensive,
Right.
to keep fed and to keep healthy.
Well, I was told, as a general rule, if you want to get started, get into it, just get any rabbits you can get. It really doesn't matter.
Right.
Just see what happens.
Just try and keep them alive for a little while, and when they
Yeah,
die, then you
go with that.
fix your mistakes.
Well, yeah, exactly. But that's the thing, is they're not really dying that often. Usually it works. You want to, you can put the babies together, but like I said, you want to keep the mom and the other, once they're settled, you separate them. So basically you just bring the doe to the buck, and then he'll jump on it and go right away.
Yeah.
You bring her into his cage. You don't want to do it the other way. Apparently this some kind of courting thing you don't want to deviate from. I don't know how you did it in your dating world, but the doe comes to the buck. That's
okay.
Whatever. You got to have standards, So basically he just jumps on, does his thing. As soon as he falls off, then you're good to go. You can bring her back. The doe you're going to put like in a nesting box. You want to build like a little area to make it comfortable and want to hang out, that kind of stuff. A normal litter, 6 to 8 babies. Usually 28 to 32 days you can do another litter, and just kind of back to back. So once a month you're banging out 6 to 8 babies. Yeah, 6 to 8 babies a month.
Okay,
is what you're getting per
wow,
doe.
that is a lot.
Right, and so like I said, you have 3, does, 1 buck. That was the one sample. Whatever. That's what we're working with. Obviously, you can scale this up or down any way you want to do it.
Right.
But that's a decent amount of food. 4 to 5 weeks, and then they can breed again. So in between. So I guess it's not 6 to 8 every month. It's 6 to 8 every 2 months. All right, so I just dragged out some of my other notes here. Basically, you can leave the young rabbits with the mother for up to 8 weeks, and at that point, you can actually go right to killing them, and they're ready to, they're already grown enough for eating.
Okay.
If you do this, they say you should remove the mother 6 weeks. Actually, all right, so 8 weeks they're ready to be eaten. After 6 weeks, you take away the mother, and she.
So you got a 2-month turnaround from birth to.
Yeah, after
full grown.
she's given birth, so you put her back to the buck. After she's been served, you like the wording there,
Yeah, that's nice.
return her back to the young.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that was...
You know, it's actually... I like that wording. The other day I went through... Served. I went through a Wendy's drive-thru, and there was a guy at the register. When I pulled up to pay, he goes, "My name is Tamil, and I'll be happy to serve you."
Oh, no.
And I was like, oh Jesus.
After she's been served.
Just take my money.
Yeah, exactly. When they're 8 weeks old, and the doe will give birth again 17 days after the litter's been removed. After the 8 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So, you kind of have that cycle. It's a little tough to follow. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I'll see if I can put it up in the show notes.
Okay.
Have it up
Well,
there
I think I got it.
You get the gist of it.
A month and a half, you take it away. 2 weeks later, you eat them.
Yeah. And, well, no, right. But they were saying basically after she gives birth, you can put her back to the buck, and then he can kind of right back go into town.
Take care of business.
A couple weeks later,
mm-hmm.
right.
You just have to name the buck Tamil so he can serve her.
To separate the does and the bucks at 3 months old, for replacement. If you want to do replacement breeding,
mm-hmm.
have more to keep this all going.
Yep.
So at 3 months old, you separate them.
So is that
sexing the rabbits? How about that?
Oh, how do you check them?
Sexing the rabbits is easy enough. Lay the rabbit on its back, head toward you. Press your fingers gently on each side where its equipment seems to be. This will force out and expose the relevant parts. It will appear as an orifice in the female and a slight rounded protrusion in the male. When a rabbit is the size of a New Zealand white, is ready, she weighs 8 pounds. Don't keep her until she gets much heavier, or she will fail to conceive.
Okay.
Take the doe to the buck, which I mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Never the buck to the doe, or there will be fighting. Always put a doe by herself when she is going to kindle. A doe should rear from 7 to 9 rabbits a litter. Okay, that's a higher number than the other one I just had.
Right.
So,
but that's the New Zealand breed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me see what else I got for you. It's best, a doe should rear from 7 to 9 rabbits a litter. If the litters are over 12, it is best to remove and kill a few, or else foster them on another doe, because it's not going to work out. So, the other bonus with the bunnies is you get the furs.
Mm-hmm.
The furs are small, whatever, but they're soft. People like them. Skinning rabbits, kind of cool. You can make lots of neat things. And when you need new clothes for the end of the world, why not make them, some bunny loincloths or something,
Mm-hmm.
I know you were running around the house in a bunny loincloth. Isn't that what your old lady was saying?
That didn't happen, no.
Oh, okay.
No. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to that, but...
No.
No. It would have to be more like a mountain lion loincloth. Rabbit just wouldn't do.
All right, fair enough.
All right. So, we're talking about tanning the hides.
Yes.
I've got a couple of solutions that you could use for tanning them.
All right.
You could use a cup of coarse sugar. Salt.
Coarse
Granulated salt.
Yep.
Like the sea salt you get. And a cup of alum. Do you know what alum is? It's a chemical that they use for coagulation.
All right.
But you can get that fairly easily. It's not anything crazy. You get it powdered or granulated, and you mix that with water. So the second one would be the same thing. The sugar. I can't keep saying sugar. Salt, granulated salt.
Right.
And then an ounce of full strength sulfuric acid. That is also something that you're not going to find at your common.
Lowe's and stuff has it.
Yeah, you should be able to find it there. It's not that crazy. I mean,
I've cleaned some
These are
bathtubs,
things
but I
you're
haven't
gonna
bought it
have
in
to
years, so I don't know. You know,
Well, I know.
class.
I see it at some of the places I work. They have jars of it. It's not something you want to play with. I guess you would. I don't know. Middle Easterners throw it in women's faces and stuff, right?
No, it has.
So I mean, it's got to be available.
Where else would they get it?
It says also you can use 4 ounces of battery acid. That seems to me would be a little bit harder to get, the battery acid. But these things are pretty common to come by, but it's not something that you're just going to be able to dig up out of the woods. So it's something you want to have on hand before you get started with the rabbits if you're planning on tanning them.
Okay.
But there are natural ways to do it. Obviously, the natives here used to do it. Yeah,
right?
they used to do brain tanning. And
you can pee on them.
Really?
Yeah, it turns out the expression "not enough," they don't even have a pot to piss in.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out that expression is because people used to, poor people would all piss in a bucket, and they would take the bucket to the tanner and sell it to him for some extra money, and he would use the piss.
Ew, pee clothes?
Pee clothes.
That's terrible.
That's the rumor.
All right. Well, I mean, these
saying,
are all things to keep in mind. But
there's
obviously,
options.
I'm going to do a lot more research on the pee thing before I start pissing on rabbits.
You can, skin this stuff. Well, basically, the gist of it is you're going to scrape it clean. You're going to scrape all the fat.
Right, and that's a big part of it. You got to make sure you get
every
everything
bit
off
of fat, because it'll rot the
Right.
flesh right on there.
That was Ed Gaines. Do you know who he is? He's a famous serial killer.
No.
Well, he wasn't really a serial
He
killer.
didn't get the fat off.
He would dig up bodies
Oh.
and like make lampshades and things out of it. He
That's
upholstered a chair. But when they were going through his stuff after they arrested him, they said that he did not do a good job getting all the fat off. And all his stuff was like poorly crafted. Poor craftsmanship.
You got to take pride in your work.
Well, that guy Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs was based off Ed Gaines because he made a woman suit. So, just something to throw out there. If you're into that sort of thing.
It took this podcast in an ugly direction.
It just went wrong, didn't it?
We're talking about cute and fuzzy bunnies. We're gonna name them George.
Mm-hmm.
And then now, no,
All right.
not so much.
But you have to get all the fat off there. You have to scrape them clean and be diligent about it. Don't say good enough.
All right, sounds right.
Okay, not enough nipples to go around, I guess.
There you go. So
Okay.
that's
Now-
basically what I got about bunnies.
They say rabbits. There's like a long tradition of eating rabbits in Europe. Like this isn't a new thing. Even the Greeks were big fans of eating rabbit. And in my opinion is that it always kind of tastes like turkey, kind of like turkey meat does.
All right.
But whenever I say that around people that eat rabbit, they never agree with me. So you're just gonna have to get some, meet them yourself, and make your own decision.
They're in the backyard.
Mm-hmm.
It's time. Yeah, that's really all I have. Just, hutches like you think about. But it's kind of a cool thing. So they take almost no effort to keep.
Mm-hmm.
You could really just deal with this on the weekends, aside of throwing some food and water in there once a day.
Yep.
Like the chickens, they kind of take care of themselves. If you're doing your normal run with your chickens, because we're going to talk about chickens in another week or two,
Mm-hmm.
then going through and doing the rabbits is not much different.
Right.
And people like to eat rabbit meat.
It's not bad.
What do you spend a day building rabbit cages? It's
Mhm.
not a big, complicated,
Yeah. It's not. And rabbits are super cheap.
And I got to tell you, the end of the world comes. How cool are you when, you're ready to go?
Right. When you got eight
It's
sets of
an endless
8-pound
supply of
meats,
Right?
bags of meat
So,
every month.
I don't know. It just seems pretty cool to me that, you could be knocking this out and, bunny farm.
Mm-hmm.
So, just something you guys should be thinking about. A little stepping up your preparedness. I know that North Korea was testing nuclear missiles, shooting them up, and it turned out they were going for that EMP height again.
Yeah.
The lights go out, and then, you guys are going to be ready.
Yeah, Kim Jong-un is working on it.
And then I also saw the SEAL teams are doing some training exercises where they practice taking out Kim Jong-un.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't hear about that.
So maybe, he's going to get pissed off. He's going to say, I'm not going for that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And EMP, lights go out. Here you go.
Yep.
Bunny time.
Bunny time.
And when your neighbors come over and they want to kill you and take all your food, you're like, wait, I could give you the gift that keeps on giving all year long.
And then you can kill me.
And then you can kill me. But, so I don't know. Something like that.
Exciting stuff.
Yes.
I made some fire starters.
Fire
this
starters.
Week. I got an egg crate when I was done with my eggs. The carton of eggs. And found some old candles that are, basically burnt out. Stumps.
Yeah.
And I melted them. And I stuffed all the little holes of the egg carton with dryer lint. So it was all basically garbage.
So
and
it's
I poured
egg carton,
the wax.
dryer lint.
Right.
What
then
else?
poured the wax,
And that's it.
the wax on top of it.
All right.
And then you cut them up into little squares. And I took one out and
How'd it go?
started off. It was excellent.
And how
and
long
it burned,
did it burn?
It
10
burned
minutes?
for a good 10 minutes at least, yeah. And it was basically free. This was all stuff that was going to end up in the garbage.
Now the wax was old candles, you said?
Yeah, it was old candles. It was some of the old, like those ones that come in the jars. And I just put it on kerosene heater.
So you also get fun
Melted 'em.
scents.
Oh, yeah. Well, these were unscented, but yes, you can get the scented kind. I did have one that I thought about.
If
that
you
was,
buy the right
it was
candles,
bourbon and tobacco. I thought
Nice.
I should have done that, but
if you buy the right candles, they're very inexpensive.
Yeah, and you want to be careful with the dryer lint though too. Is that if you throw in those dry fabric softener sheets,
Yeah.
you can get some weird, funky smells on there, and there's certain plastics.
Yeah,
and
I
things in
actually
there.
forbid those in my household.
Do you?
So, oh, dude, it's been an ongoing battle.
Really?
Oh yeah.
You don't like them?
No, I won't tolerate it.
What's the matter with them? They stop static cling, man.
They smell.
They're good. It's good stuff.
You know what it is fixing dryers all day. I come out of a dryer and I smell like freaking dryer sheets, and I'm like, that's just gross.
You smell country fresh, man.
Country fresh. So, finally, we actually had a request. One of our listeners sent in an email to preppingbadass.com.
Mm-hmm.
I keep telling you guys, you want to hear your topics, this is the answer.
All right. Well, Stan the Man wrote in.
Stan the Man.
He said, consider fuel storage. If shit hits the fan, how long will gas be usable if found or stored? And is there a way to rejuvenate gas back to where it's functional again?
All right, some good questions.
Yeah. The answer on the rejuvenation is not really.
Not really.
Not really. Some people say you can mix it with fresh gas, 50-50.
Okay.
Other people say that doesn't work. And you
Then
don't want to be
just have a bunch of
stalling
bad
out.
Gas?
Yeah, you don't want to be stalling out and clogging up
When
your
the
carburetor.
zombies are chasing you?
Yeah. Some people say that you can add Pride G, which is a fuel stabilizer.
Okay.
But they also say that within reason, it'll rejuvenate the gas.
All right.
So odds are, unless you have Pride G, I wouldn't even attempt it. And if you do, you'd want to do it with like a lawnmower or something first, just to make sure you don't fill your tank up
Barely
with
keep the lawnmower
gas that
going
won't
as
start.
it is.
That's just because you got an old piece of crap, man. Just
All
like
right.
my 6
All
old
right.
lawnmowers.
So, the first thing I can tell you, gas in general, if you have a nice clean gas tank and you fill it up and you leave it, you're good for about a year.
Right. You want it closed off, though. You don't want it open. Condensation will
I
mess
know
with
when
it.
I bought my chainsaw, they have all kinds of, you want, your chainsaw to last. They have procedures for, you're not going to use it for 2 weeks. You're not going to use it for a month.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to use it for 6 months. And really even up to 6 months, even with the mixed fuel, the big thing, they say top it off.
Yeah.
Leave it completely full in the tank.
Mm-hmm.
That way you're not going to get the moisture, the condensation. These things help. The next bit of advice I would have for you is non-ethanol gas.
Mm-hmm.
if you're planning on storing, anytime I buy gas for my lawnmower, my weed whacker, my chainsaw, my generator, any of those things, I buy non-ethanol gas. Now, you can't always buy it. It depends where you live. In New York, it's pretty much required almost everywhere here. We do have a local company that does non-ethanol in our county, but the county next to us, they're not allowed to sell it.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Yeah, I know that I run right up to the store right here
and
and
it's great.
pick it up. It's no
and
problem.
that will last, honestly, the other gas goes bad a lot quicker.
And that's what you want to use for most of those things like lawnmowers is non-ethanol to begin with. You might even want to get an additive that you know, will help out with that, even if you're putting directly in your chainsaw or your mower.
The big thing, I mean, you know, you're like, oh, well, then you should put non-ethanol in everything. Well, the thing is, in my car, I'm going through the gas. It doesn't matter. It's not going to sit. It doesn't burn quite as efficient, but I don't know if I'm going to pay 50 cents more a gallon. But you know what? When I fill my 5-gallon gas can, that thing might last me all year.
Yeah.
And the problem is, even though I might burn through the can, I might only use the weed whacker once.
Right.
Or I might only use the chainsaw once. And then now I'm stuck with that gas, so I needed that to be, you know, premium.
Right.
The next thing, like my boat. Seems if I go 2 years without running it, you know, I might start it, but I mean without really taking it out and burning through a tank of gas, then that's where I've started to get into trouble. 2 or 3 years. The big thing, you want to really be putting stable in it. If you're gonna go more than a year, and obviously there's guys who are probably yelling at me going, oh, well, even when I put it away for the winter, I put it in stable, and I'm not gonna go the 3 months to the next season, or 6 months without stable in it. Okay, do that. You know, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying you can get away with it up to a year. I really don't have problems.
Yeah.
But I also know if I'm going into 2 years, you're going to wish you had put stable in it, or maybe you're going to have to drain it out.
Yeah.
And just say, you know what, I'm going to have to buy fresh gas next year.
The only reason I would use stabilizers, I was looking through some of the crazy, you know, prepper forums that I go through, and there was somebody who was recommending that you keep at least 25 gallons of gasoline stored at all times.
Whoa.
And if you're going to have 5-gallon containers...
my car,
Yeah, well, that's what he said. Either rotate it through or use stabilizer. But I think that unless you're seeing like a hurricane on its way or something like that, there's no reason to have that much gasoline on hand unless you're just, you know, completely crazy. And
my generator has this big like tub on top of it for a gas tank, and it holds 20 gallons.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that sucks. You know? So I want to fill it.
Take
so
your generator
this
to the
thing
gas
can
station that
last
easy.
forever. This is great.
Right.
But then, all right, I filled it up for the season. Now what do I do with
now
my
we
20
had
gallons?
no power outages.
And I'm like, damn it. Yeah, no power outage. What am I going to do?
Mm-hmm.
So then I sit there with this little like 1/4-inch hose, letting it bleed out for an hour in a 5-gallon can, and then I got to go dump it in the car or whatever, and it's a pain in my ass. Now, actually, it reminds me, you had brought up the other day about like the high flow. You said the gas cans. You were going to go buy the high flow nozzles.
The high flow nozzles, yeah.
So I was getting ready for this big blizzard we had, the blizzard of 2017, whatever we call it.
Yeah, what was it?
Our big 2 feet.
Stella.
We
Storm,
just got...
Winter Superstorm Stella, what are they calling it? Is that what it was?
I don't know. I didn't hear.
Stella!
Is that what you were
yelling? Yeah,
yelling?
that's what I was yelling when I was shoveling the driveway.
So, yeah, it was a bitch. But anyway, we did get, what'd they say, 28 inches here?
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
It's brutal. But anyway, so I'm like, oh, you know, I'm going to go to Tractor Supply and see if they have these high flow nozzles. Well, they do, and they say only for use with water. Because they can't sell it with the other. So I'm like, this is perfect. This is exactly what I want.
Fit on the can?
Fit right on the can. Actually came with 2 different ends for different thread types. Didn't drip at all. had a little screw-on cap.
Mm-hmm.
The only downside, and there is one, is my gas cans. They all came with the, no spill, whatever originally.
Mm-hmm.
None of them have the little air cap in the back.
Right. So it glugs. It
So
gurgles.
it sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I go to port, it's slower than with the freaking, the other ones. It was horrible.
Oh, man.
Both the gas and I didn't spill a drop.
Mm-hmm.
But I was there for freaking 20 minutes pouring the gas.
Uh,
Even with just filling the snowblower.
mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, God, I don't have time for this.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just saying I was a little disappointed.
Yeah. Well, gasoline's good storage, or a good thing to keep on hand. Even if
Right.
it's just a couple of gallons. You're probably going to have that in your garage anyway for your lawnmower and your other stuff,
Yeah.
It does take about a year for it to go bad. 6 months to a year. You want to be rotating it out. If you have gas and you're storing it, just rotate it out. That's a really easy way to go about it. Fill it up and then dump it in your gas tank, in your car tank if you haven't used it by the end of the summer or whatever.
That's it. I always throw it in my lawn tractor. That's it. Thing seems to
And,
handle anything,
Yeah, the other thing about gasoline is 97% of vehicles on the road are gas vehicles.
All right.
So if you're gonna have to commandeer a vehicle, gas is something you want on hand. Diesel is not as likely to come. You're not as likely to come across.
But you can make your own diesel.
Yeah. You were looking into that for a while, right?
Yeah, a little biodiesel, yep.
Mhm.
But no, there is. I mean, you can kind of burn it straight off vegetable oil and like that. But again, how much of a vegetable oil supply do you have?
Right.
I don't
The other thing I was looking at was kerosene. Kerosene's really good. Stores for a long time.
Okay.
You can use it on heaters in your house.
You can use it to drive your diesel truck.
You can use it to drive your diesel. You can use it in your for your home heating.
Okay.
If you have an oil tank and a furnace. Propane. Propane's great for for cooking, for anything really. Propane's good to have on hand.
Yeah.
But the best fuel you can have on hand is firewood. It's easy to get, easy to store. It's not gonna go bad unless you're a dumbass and just leave it uncovered out in the yard to rot.
And honestly, there's an endless supply.
Right. Chemical-free cooking. It's good stuff. So you want to go with obviously hardwoods. Softwoods don't burn faster and not as hot. And there's a lot of creosote that clogs up chimneys and things like that.
Clogs up chimneys.
Softwood's good for your outdoor bonfire if you're short on wood, but it's not really good for indoor. But I think when it comes to fuel storage, you really need to find the fuels that you're going to need, that you're going to use.
All right.
So for home heating, if you have a furnace that runs off of runs off a heating fuel, you can use kerosene.
Yeah.
You might want to keep kerosene on hand if you have a diesel truck, because it's something that's going to last a little bit longer. Diesel really does not last long at all. It's about 6 months.
And honestly, the people, I'm sure if you're living in a trailer, you already know this, but your oil company will deliver kerosene, and it's like, I don't know, 10 cents, 20 cents more a gallon than the diesel. So if you're really like, oh, I'm a prepper, I have a diesel truck, and I'd really like to be able to,
right,
whatever, instead of the home heating oil. Now, obviously, you would be violating certain tax laws by putting kerosene in your truck. We would never recommend that you do that.
Right. You don't want to avoid paying Uncle Sam his due.
They got to get the over-the-road tax, which always baffles me, that the over-the-road tax is like 50 cents, and then you go and kerosene costs more than the diesel. And
right.
I'm like, but it's the same thing, and the government's just not getting.
Yeah.
They're just sticking me in the.
Well, kerosene's a little bit cleaner, but
it is a lot cleaner.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So when it comes to fuel storage, you really have to look at your situation and what your needs are.
Yeah.
Gasoline, maybe storing 25 gallons of gasoline in your shed or garage is a good idea if you're worried about getting to your bug out location. You know, if your bug out location is, 300 miles away,
yeah,
you might want to have that fuel prepped.
So, if you're buying non-ethanol, I would say every 6 months rotate your storage.
Mm-hmm.
Put it in the clean tanks. They got to be nice, clean storage tanks.
Right.
Don't have the old rusty, I found these old Army cans or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's great if they're brand new.
Right.
But not when they're 20, 30 years old and they're rusting.
Mm-hmm.
So clean. Fill them to the top. 6 months if they're with ethanol. A year if they're non-ethanol. And then you're safe.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm going on the conservative side. I think either one, you're going to get a year, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
I think non-ethanol, you're going to get 18 months.
Mm-hmm.
Then you start getting into a danger zone. But keep it full, keep it clean, and you should be all right.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I don't know what to tell you, man. You're shit out of luck if you need to go further than that, you know?
Yeah, now remember for all your big storm events,
Yes.
I made the mistake because I was going grocery shopping. Just my weekly
Oh.
grocery shopping, and it ended up coming the day before the big storm.
Yeah, it was a
Everybody
mistake.
was out there, and it was crowds and lines, and I had to, knock old ladies over when they were moving too slowly through the aisles. But, when you see those storms coming, don't be a screw up like me, and don't go the day before the storm gets coming. I was all prepped for the storm, but I was out grocery shopping like a dummy. I should have just gone home and waited until the storm was over and gone out.
I went and got gas the night before.
It's a good idea, though, for those types of storms. Fill up your gas tank, do all the basic stuff. I think we did a show on prepping for the storm.
I think we did.
But, so that's all I got.
So you guys saw us. Stan sent us an email.
Mm-hmm.
Here it is. And you guys can be doing the same thing. Getting all your unanswered questions.
Yeah, because we're running out of ideas, man. We're
Prepping
going to have to come up with
Badass.
some crazy stuff now.
So, actually, we did get a lot of emails this week.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of psyched. I've been talking with Jason in Kentucky. He's going to hook us up with some tips and maybe some equipment on maybe doing a little better with the recording. Kevin, you had some of the other emails?
Yeah, I was looking through some of them. We've got Amelia and PR. We got a couple of new female listeners.
Women listen to
Women
the
listen to
Prepping
this,
Badass
apparently.
podcast?
Yeah, I don't know why they put up with my
with your
my
courses?
nonsense. But I appreciate that. We'll have to maybe do an episode catering a little bit to that side of the spectrum, maybe.
All right.
And keep that in mind. But if you want to get a hold of us, you can email us at preppingbadass@gmail.com. Is there a Facebook page?
There is, I think it's facebook.com/preppingbadass.
Okay.
But we're out
Let
there.
us know what you think about us. And, if you got any ideas, topics, that's great. If you have any comments
Be a
or
little
suggestions.
delicate with the feedback, I think. There were some hurtful things.
Ch-
Somebody didn't like.
Chuck is fragile.
Fragile,
Mm-hmm.
So, whatever. Just be gentle.
I'll have to read those emails.
All right. I'm just saying. So, otherwise, stay safe, and we will talk to you guys next week.
Want to plan your next fishing trip without the hassle? FishingBooker.com is the best way to find and book a fishing charter anywhere in the world. Whether you're chasing trophy fish or just looking for a family day on the water, Fishing Booker makes it simple, fast, and secure. With thousands of experienced guides, verified reviews, and 24/7 customer support, Fishing Booker takes the guesswork out of planning. Visit fishingbooker.com and book your trip today. Fishing Booker. Fishing trips made easy.
Friends of NRA is your chance to support our Second Amendment rights and preserve America's hunting traditions. Join Friends of NRA at one of our 600 exciting events nationwide. From games to auctions and exclusive firearms, Friends of NRA events are your chance to support a cause you care about while having a great time with patriots in your community. Whether you're a seasoned shooter, an avid hunter or outdoorsman, or passionate about freedom, there's a place for you within Friends of NRA. Visit friendsofnra.org to find an event near you. Stand up for freedom with the Friends of NRA.
Gear up for the hunt and learn from the best with Deer and Deer Hunting Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern on Waypoint TV. Tune in every week for expert hunting tips and unforgettable moments in the field. Waypoint TV, your destination for outdoor entertainment.